the first question, whenever a thought comes into your mind, the first question you want to ask yourself is, do I want that?
So let me present my guest for today. That is Dave Conway. Hi, Dave. Welcome. So,
hey, Silvia.
Hi, welcome on this episode. So, guys, Dave is a mindset and sales mentor, an international speaker. He has the privilege to work with the legend Bob Proctor, and his goal is to help others expand their lives, living and working in a more productive and good environment. So, Dave, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So the first question that I want to ask to you is to talk about yourself, your background, your education. When did you get started with the mindset, and how did you become an expert?
Yeah, so I've been a student of spiritual and mental sciences now for 18 years. When I was 18 years old, actually, my mom said, "Hey, there's some guy speaking at a local hotel in the city that we live, and I heard he's really good, and we should go." And I was like, "Okay." So went with her, and it ended up being actually Bob Proctor, who it was, and he was talking at a hotel it was 2 hours.
Okay.
And I would tell you, like, I walked in one person, 18 years old, walked in one person, and within 2 hours, I walked out a completely different person. I had and we'll maybe talk a little bit later on the podcast. I had an emotional impact.
Okay.
So that's when something happens in your life and just your whole world changed just like that.
A wake up call.
Yeah. So I began to, from then on, I started studying mental and spiritual sciences. And 13 years I went down that road. And with the information, I built a successful real estate company, real estate holdings company. And I also built a fairly successful construction company.
Great.
But around 2015, this feeling inside started to grow, like, something bigger, something more.
Yeah, sure.
And I couldn't put my finger on it. It wasn't necessarily like a thought. It was more like a feeling, like there's something greater, something larger here, more work to do or something like that.
Okay.
And I lived with that feeling for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So then in January of 2017, this idea floated back in my head. It's like, I wonder if Bob Proctor still does his thing. And so I Googled it, and I did. He does a paradigm shift. So I went down to Los Angeles in May, and I say to people, it's the most painful 3 days of my entire life. A lot of times for us, we think that we're a certain place. You would think that the problem with most people is that they don't have goals. And that is a really big problem, okay? It is a problem,
yeah, sure.
But it's not the primary problem. The primary problem with us is we don't know where we are.
Okay.
And Bob Proctor is very good at, and was very good with me at telling me exactly where I was. People say to me, "Man, you must have loved working with Bob Proctor." I say, like 10% of the time. The other 90%, he's just like,
yeah, sure.
Pushing the limits. So I ended up becoming a consultant with him.
Okay.
And in 1 year, I was the second number two selling consultant in the world.
Oh, congratulations.
And I started working directly with him on his coaching and sales team. And I coached hundreds of people for him, all of his elite clients, 30,000 plus clients, dollar-wise.
Okay.
And I did thousands of calls and thousands of presentations. So when I was 18, and I'd like to talk about this quickly too. When I was 18, I really did desire to work with him. I really did.
Okay.
I desired to do this work, but through my own ignorance, I guess I really didn't fully comprehend what he was talking about.
Okay.
Because if I really did, I would have been working with him a lot sooner.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So that's my kind of mindset. And I would help people here and there. But once you start understanding how the mind operates, man, your life will change very fast.
Yeah, sure. So basically, this was your path. So with the Bob Proctor, you learned a lot for sure. And one of the things that I want to ask you right now is one of the fundamental of Bob Proctor, that is the power of thinking, and how this power of thinking can help other people in life, in business. So can you explain more about this?
Sure. It's funny you asked. Like, it was maybe I have a client that started working with me about 5 months ago, and I told her I was like a full-time mindset coach, and she was kind of miffed at that. She's like, "Is that even possible?"
Okay.
I think the biggest problem when we start talking about mindset is that people don't understand what the mind is.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Now the truth is that no one knows what it is, but we do know this: that it operates by law.
Okay.
It's very important to understand. It operates by law, right? So when we're talking about mindset or mindset coaching, what we have to understand is that what we're really studying is ourself. You and I are in possession of what we call a mind.
Yeah.
And inside your mind, you have 6 higher faculties. Okay, they are perception, reason, imagination, memory, will, and intuition. Your greatest gift in the beginning is your imagination.
Okay.
The biggest problem with this, and I think we'll talk about paradigms maybe a little bit later too. The biggest problem is that most of our imaginations are shackled.
Okay.
Okay. So when we talk about the mind, we have to understand what we're really talking about. We're talking about a thing that flows to and through us. Everything comes to and through the mind. But the biggest part of your mind in the beginning of anyone that I work with is all imagination.
Okay.
We have to start to allow the imagination to flow out and start to go into places that previously we're not allowing it to go.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So when people talk about mindset's really like a state. It's a being. It's like your attitude. It's a state it's the thoughts you think. The thoughts you think control the vibratory rate of your body. So when we talk about mindset, I really want to be clear about something that most people don't really understand what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty obvious, all right?
Yeah, for sure. When we talk about positive thinking, people think, okay, let me think to a Ferrari and I will win tomorrow a Ferrari. There is a problem, a gap.
Yeah, and the proper use of the mind is to make a clear mental picture of what you want. Take a clear mental picture, because the thoughts you hold in your mind control the vibratory rate of your body. The vibratory rate of your body controls the images control the vibration of the body. The rate the body vibrates at controls what you attract.
Okay.
So first you allow the imagination to go out, create a clear mental picture, and then you ask yourself, who is the man or woman that's performing that? And then that will start moving you into the vibration. You'll start to attract on that. But people, when they talk about the law of attraction too, they want something for nothing.
Yeah, sure.
You always provide service for something. So I will tell everybody, if the key, I know you talked about increasing your income, the key to making more money is to serve more.
Yeah, sure. Give value.
That is it. If all you ever focused on is serving, your life would change like night and day.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You talk about paradigm before. So can you explain better what it means and how we can use paradigm, or better shifting paradigm, to improve our businesses, our lives, and so on?
Yeah, so what a paradigm is, it's a multitude of habits fixed in the subconscious mind.
Okay.
That is what it is. It's a multitude of habits fixed in the subconscious mind. All right? And your subconscious mind, for those that are watching, if you've got a pen and pad, you want to write this down. Your subconscious mind is your emotional mind.
Okay.
It's very important to understand that. Okay? You also have a thing called a conscious mind. Your conscious mind is also known as your thinking mind. This is what you think with. All right? Your paradigm controls 96 to 98% of your habitual behavior. But the truth is that your paradigm actually controls your thinking. And Silvia, you and I become what we think about. The problem is we just don't permit ourselves to actually think about what we want. You know, we could all get a PhD in thinking about things that we don't want.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, like a doctorate. I want to give everybody a little tip here. The first question, whenever a thought comes into your mind, the first question you want to ask yourself is, do I want that?
Okay.
Do I want anything that thought brings? And if the answer is no, you need to remove the thought.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? So when we talk about paradigms, what we have to understand is that a paradigms are formed two ways. One is genetically. Right when the sperm touches the egg, you got boom, you got a little Dave, a little Bob, a little Sylvia, all getting, made up in the womb there. Okay. Anybody with children, more than one child will know your kids are kind of the same, but they're also very different.
Yeah, sure. Okay?
The second way that it's formed is after the moment of birth, 0 to 4 years old is when most of your primary conditioning happens. And that's because your subconscious mind is totally open.
Okay. 4 years old, you told? At 4 years old. 4 years old.
0 to 4 years old, your self-image is completely formed. And anyone with parents will know this. Kids start getting real stubborn between 2 and 4. They start getting like their own little opinions and things like that, okay?
Okay.
Anyone with the children will verify this, okay? So there's two ways that it's formed in its simplest way, right? But also the paradigm is changed two ways. The first way it's changed is through an emotional impact. Something happens in your life, boom, changes you. Okay? It's usually a disaster, something usually negative, loss of a loved one, things like that.
Yeah, sure.
The problem with people is that once that happens, not very many get up from it, so it starts distorting their perception of things. So let's take this. Like, let's say you as a young woman, you're like, oh, love, and a man or a husband or whatever the heck, and you love. And then you end up like dating a couple losers, and they were no good. And now you think, well, I don't think that no more. So you had some negative experience, starts distorting, you stop trusting people. And now that experience is recycling in your thinking all the time. That morphs into your paradigm. Okay? So the first way that a paradigm is changed is through an emotional impact. Okay. You don't plan this. Okay? But the second way that a paradigm is changed, and if you really grasp what I'm going to share with you, I will tell you, it will change your life like night and day. Okay? Mm-hmm. If you are listening to this podcast, you're going to want to write this down, and I want you to put serious thought into what I'm going to share with you. Okay? The second way to change a paradigm is repetition of thought.
Okay.
Any idea held in the human mind through repetition of thought, once emotionalized, will drop into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind, like I said before, controls your vibration. Okay. Controls what you act, controls how you behave. So this is what in the beginning of the call I talked a little bit about liberating imagination. The first thing you have to allow yourself to do is go out and conceive the ideas. Now it's easy to conceive ideas, but why don't we keep them in there? Why do we reject all these great ideas that could change our life?
Yeah, sure.
It's because of the paradigm. Okay, so go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah. So when we're talking about the paradigm, and I think your question, if you want to repeat the question one more time, I'll make sure that I'm answering exactly how that you're asking. Ask me the question one more time.
Well, how we can, how we can use paradigm shifting to improve our businesses, our life. You told us how to use it, but if you can give more example to us, it will be good.
Yeah, okay. So when it comes to the paradigm, you have to understand the paradigm controls the thinking, and you and I become what we think about.
Okay.
Okay. Silvia, who's creating your life but you?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Now, you know that intellectually, but do you understand it emotionally?
Okay.
Okay. If you understand what I'm saying, not intellectually, everybody's on this podcast gathering good information, but are you internalizing the information? Because everybody knows how to do better, but they're not doing better. We all know that we're capable of a lot more than we're currently doing. Why aren't we doing it? It is the paradigm that needs to change if you want your life to change.
How much time do you need to change, to shift a paradigm? You say, okay, today I will start changing it, shifting, but when I am sure 100% that this has happened? When I can see results, for sure.
Okay, great question. Okay, so the first thing is once an idea floats into your conscious mind, you're going to first step is to ask yourself, do I want that?
Okay.
Okay, so let's say the answer is yes. Let's say you want to, let's say you're earning $10,000 a month and you want to earn $50,000 a month. Let's just say, okay? So this idea floats in your mind, doesn't have that much power, and this idea floats, I'd like to earn $50,000 a month. It's like, okay, first question, do I want that? If the answer is yes, then what you need to do is you need to accept that idea.
Okay.
You say, I'm going to accept that idea. I'm not going to reject it, because your conscious mind can do three things. It can accept, reject, and originate.
Okay.
It can accept ideas, it can reject ideas, but through the imagination, it can originate ideas. Okay? So once the idea floats in, you say, I'm going to accept that. Then what you're going to do is then you make a decision. I'm going to go after that. I'm going to go after earning $50,000 a month.
Okay.
Then once you make a decision, that idea will then drop into your subconscious. Then continually, you have to keep on letting yourself get emotionally involved. It's almost like if this is the goal, or let's say the 50,000 or the goal, whatever your goal is, could be 100 million, I don't know what it is. You just you need to keep letting yourself go into that idea, almost like resting into it like a little pillow. Just allow yourself to go there. But the key is you use the repetition of thought to keep it alive, because your paradigm and your environment will want to kill that idea.
Yeah, sure. Also, maybe challenges, like for example in business, lack of money or time. You find out like roadblocks along your path. So
yeah, and the big problem with people is once they get a challenge, they get emotionally involved in the challenge. So they go into the mechanics of it, and then you and I become what we think about.
Okay.
So now what we're thinking about the problem. So we keep on recreating more and more problems, when really we need to have a clear mental picture of what does that look like, and you keep going there, you keep going there, you keep going there, and I will tell you that you can guarantee, as sure as getting dark tonight, you'll succeed in your life. The biggest thing that I see people fall with, it is easy to set goals, Silvia. It is easy.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? It's an intellectual activity. It's easy. What you want to do is ask yourself, who is the woman or who is the man that has accomplished that goal?
Yeah.
How do they walk? How do they talk? How do they dress? How do they act? How much money do they make? What's their results? What kind of conversations do they have? Are they a leader? What kind of results do their clients get? And then you demand yourself to live like them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like when Bob was getting me to do this, and he asked me, he said, does this future Dave fly first class all the time? And I was like, yeah, he does. And so he said, okay, from here on in, I want you to fly first class all the time. I don't even care if you can't afford it. You fly first class all the time. So I was like, oh my God. Like, another thing I learned too, if you're not serious about something, do not tell Bob Proctor about it, because he'll force you to do it.
Yeah, sure.
I have clients too. I had this one lady sign up with us in December, and she said, I understand now why all your clients win in such a big way. And I was like, why? And she's like, because you force them to do the things that they say, that they claim they want to do.
Yeah, to go outside of their comfort zone. Sure.
Yeah, that's right. And this gets so crazy that you can actually start to mentor yourself, because let's say future Silvia is earning whatever your goal is. Then you ask, what would future Silvia do? And you know what she would do. So then you have to make your decision. That's where the rubber hits the road. When you actually have to put the money down, or you have to buy that ticket, or you have to get in front, or you have to start your podcast. You have to get you to do it.
Yeah.
That is where the rubber hits the road, because only actions cause results.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So why would we get into mindset? The reason we get into mindset is to start to liberate the mind, so we can begin to act like the person we want. That is the key. If that makes sense.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So you gave us some steps to create a quantum leap of our results. So repetition, open mindset, meaning like flow of imagination and so on. Can you give us more steps so we have the whole process, or at least an idea of the big picture?
Yeah, so there's three kinds of goals. Okay, I'll share a couple things. There's three kinds of goals. most times when people set goals, they go into goals they know how to do. Okay. Now, the first thing we have to understand about goals is goals are not meant to get. They're to grow.
Okay.
That is essential to understand that. Okay? Because as soon as you have something, you become dissatisfied with it very fast. So goals are not meant to get, they're to grow. Now, when people start to set goals, they tend to go into goals they know how to do. A lot of people confuse goal setting with tasks. It's like I say, oh, what's your goal today? Oh, it's to do laundry and get the laundry done and cook the dinner and this, that. That's not a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
And that's a task. All right. Then what happens when they drift off the goals I know how to do, then they go into goals they think they can do. So it's like, if I get this and I work a little extra hard here and I remortgage this and I borrow this and I move this here and this person this and on it goes. Then people go, that's goals you think you can do. You make a little plan.
Yeah.
What we deal with is goals that you want, pure fantasy. Now, I have 3 criteria of goal setting. The first criteria is after you get the goal. So let's say you go in the fantasy state. You let the imagination float out. Okay. And you allow her to say, yes, I want this. Yes, I'm going to go for this. Okay. Then what you do is you bring them through 3 different questions. The first question is, does this goal challenge my thinking? Does it make like the neurons short circuit in my brain where it's like, this is so stupid. And the first thing you want to do is reject it.
Okay.
Okay. First step. The second step is, does this goal challenge my belief system?
Okay.
Now this is very important because your conscious mind is your thinking mind. Your subconscious mind is your emotional mind.
Okay.
Your paradigm is just a multitude of habits, and habits is just another word for a belief.
Okay.
Okay. So does this goal challenge my thinking? So it's like, do you want to say, you want to reject the idea very fast? I say to people, like, if I'm starting to bother you, that's a really good sign because we're in your emotional mind. That's really good.
Yeah, okay? Absolutely.
So is it causing conflict? The only criteria you ever need whenever you set a goal is, do I want it? Never do I believe it.
Okay.
You should never believe a goal when you first set it. Do you want it? Okay. And the third step that you bring your little filter, you bring your goals through is, does this goal make me uncomfortable?
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is where the rubber hits the road because you will not feel true discomfort until you have to take action.
Okay.
Okay. So, for example, I talk with, I help a lot of people. Okay. And, I'll have a lot of people on the presentation, like, I say, what's your goal? And they're like, I want to be in personal development. I want to speak on stages. I want to mentor people. And I can just see myself like, 10,000 people in an arena and all these wonderful things, right?
Yeah, sure.
And say, okay, I said, that's a good goal. But they wouldn't even, they're too scared to even go do a talk at their community center. Total disconnection.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is very easy to get into goal setting. It is so easy. Goal achievement is a different story.
Yeah, absolutely. Then you said that you said good before because you said that sometimes we make mistakes in what we think that goals are and tasks are. Some people at the beginning of the years, usually people set all the goals for the year, but sometimes they start doing mistakes from the beginning, and also here, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I go back to the beginning of the call where I talked about you and I become what we think about. But the first step you have to take is to just allow yourself to just almost pure fantasy, just allow yourself to float around out there. Just allow yourself, maybe give yourself 1 week, 2 weeks, start writing out, what do I want? What do I really want? And start writing it out and just let the pen just flow. It'll start to flow out of you. A lot of things you want are already in there. I shared at the beginning that when I was 18, I saw Bob Proctor and I wanted to work with him on that day. But I also didn't understand what he was saying because I rejected the idea.
Yeah, sure. And can I ask you a question? What about if it's your family that is fighting against you, against your change, against your goals? How do you...
Yeah. Okay, great question. First off, you have to understand that your paradigm is creating your life. So whenever you go out, the only place that that goal exists is in your mind.
Okay.
Now, everyone in your environment is going to be in harmony with your paradigm. So when you start to change, they won't understand the change. They're going to say, who the hell is Sylvia now? Like, what? Like,
yeah.
She lives in Dubai now. She's doing what? Doing a podcast? Doing that? What's she doing? Your behaviors, like, who are you? I've had, like, married couples where it's like, they don't even know who's in their house. Like, here's a funny story. I changed so much. I literally revolutionized my entire self-image. I changed so much that my wife sat down with me, and we were been married for good years, sat down with me and had 36 questions she asked me because she didn't know who I was anymore.
Oh, wow. But you are still together.
Of course, better than ever.
And that's good because, you know, not all the couple can overcome this change.
No, but I'll tell you something, and I hope people receive a lot of, what do you call that when somebody, comfort. I hope people receive comfort in this, okay? The thoughts you think control the vibration. Your thoughts give off an energy field. You can pick them up. You pick them up through a thing called your intuition. Every human being has one. What your intuition is your ability to pick up thoughts from A, an infinite intelligence, and B, pick up the vibrations of other people. So imagine like this. When, Sylvia, if you're around a very negative person, let's say you're exposed to them for an hour. How do you feel after?
With a negative, oh, bad. I'm super empathic. I will go down immediately. Absolutely. I'm a person super empathic. If there is negative person energy and so on, I feel super bad. Okay.
Now, let's say you're around a very inspired person. Let's say you just got off like a great podcast or something like that that you're giving with. And how do you feel after that?
The opposite, of course.
Feel wonderful.
Yeah, sure. I want to do something more. I want to achieve. I take my book with all the goals and say, okay, maybe these ones I go ahead and so on. I get inspired.
Right. You get inspired. Now, the first thing that happens is your imagination gets liberated.
Yeah, sure.
Very important. I'm going to repeat it again on this call because it's very important. If you understand what I'm talking about, okay, it'll change your life. Okay? Energy flows to and through. It goes through me and goes into you. And vice versa. So the negative energy goes into you. But so does the positive.
Yeah, sure.
So anytime when you start moving into personal development, and maybe the people in your life aren't in harmony with it, understand this, they don't need to be in harmony with it. Because as you start taking care of yourself and you start to grow, that energy will move through you, and guess what? It'll go into them. And then they can start to change. The same way that the negative energy can pull you down, well, the same energy can bring them up.
Yeah, sure.
So at all times, you don't want to ever give your environment any power. Keep your mind focused on what you want. And I will tell you, you won't just change your life, you'll change other people's lives, you'll change your family's life.
Yeah.
Your friend's life. Now, is everybody going to stay with you? No. A lot of people fall into the habit of, I got to cut people out of my life. And, I'm on a mission now. And, they almost like born again Christians or something. Like they come like all military. Like, you're negative. Like, you're done. Like, you. It happens a lot with network marketers. They just like find this new way of life. And then they start just everybody out. Don't do that. This world operates on frequencies. Your paradigm is a frequency and it's creating your life. So you're in harmony with that frequency. So when you flip yourself up to a higher frequency, your world will start creating on that frequency.
Okay.
Now, will some of it disintegrate? Well, of course it has to disintegrate. Anything doesn't get energy to dies. But that does not mean that you have to cut people out of your life. Now, I'm not saying, hey, maybe some people you do, all right? But you don't even have to do it consciously. You'll find they just start falling away.
Yeah, sure.
So, like when I made a big change, I used to play a lot of soccer, football. Okay. And I quit it. I quit everything. Now, I'm not recommending that people do this, but I'm also not recommending it. I quit everything I used to do. Anything that was connected to an old version of Dave Conway, I quit.
Okay.
And people didn't understand.
How did you feel?
Hmm?
How did you feel when you quit all these activities and so on?
Well, I felt wonderful because I had such a strong desire to do this work, and I let my goals drive me, not my fears. So I let my goals, like my goal became a burning desire. That is the key. Goals are useless until they become a desire. A goal is just a want. A desire is an emotionalized want.
Yeah. Did you have any self-doubt in the past or not?
Sure.
I'm curious if you want to share with us.
Yeah, sure. Like I remember when I did my very first ever workshop, when I was driving there, my first ever group, I enrolled 7 clients very quickly into my coaching. And I was driving there to do the first presentation. I didn't know anything about the internet. Okay. That's how stupid I was. I had to do it in person. All right. No digital business for me.
Okay.
Not ignorant. And when I was driving there, my mind was saying, who are you? First off, I didn't sleep for 3 days before that.
Okay.
I was terrified. And then my mind saying, who are you? Who do you think you are? Like, oh, you're not a personal development guy. You're a construction guy, and call them back and refund their money and tell them you made a mistake and all this stuff. And I got so bad that I had to call my brother in Toronto. He might have been, no, he was in Toronto at that time. And I said, man, I'm spinning. Like, I'm thinking about quitting before I even start.
Yeah.
Why I say, does it make you uncomfortable? I was extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I didn't even own a suit. Okay. And he said, just do it. He said, afterwards, he said, you're born to do it. He said, just do it. And afterwards, you'll feel like $1 million. And he was right. And Silvia, I will tell you, since that day, I have helped thousands of people. Thousands of people. I've had clients that have even 100x, they're 100 times their income within 1 year.
Yeah, that's great.
This is powerful. It is powerful stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually your greatest possession. The thing that costs money, are very little value. They can be replaced. But the things that don't cost you money, they're the real gift.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Okay. And your biggest gift is your mind.
Yeah.
It'll produce anything you want if you understand how to use it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So yeah, I was very uncomfortable. I'm always uncomfortable. I've been uncomfortable for the last 3 years every day.
Yeah.
But I'm always pushing the limits, because when your desire outweighs your discomfort, who cares?
Yeah, sure.
I'm very, very comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's where most people go. It's where does this goal make me uncomfortable? But you will not experience being uncomfortable until you have to take action.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that if you look back to, like, maybe your first podcast on, you might have been like, oh,
yeah, sure. Podcast or events. The first event I remember I was in London, and my English was really a disaster. And I'm honest, I'm telling you a secret. I memorized all the presentation. Don't do it, because it's bad. If you lost a word, you're lost. So I memorized I was so scared that I continuously practiced my presentation, and I memorized all the presentation, and I was really scared. But it went so well, and I said, okay, I like it. Maybe I want to memorize again the presentation, the keynote. But yeah, sure.
That's right. So yeah, you'll always experience discomfort. If you're not experiencing discomfort or being uncomfortable, you're not growing. That's why most times with the knowing goals and the thinking goals, they're in harmony with your paradigm. They create no emotional response, and your paradigm is in your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
It's the paradigm that needs to change. And every time a desire comes in, a desire is the only thing that'll do battle with the paradigm. You've got to really want it. Look back at your life, and anyone that's listening to this, look back at your life. Take the next 5 minutes and ask yourself, when was a time in your life that you accomplished something very fast? Either there was severe extreme cases, circumstance, situations outside, and you had to do something very quick. Maybe you needed to raise a lot of money. Maybe you had a family member that was ill. You need to change really fast. And then all of a sudden you accomplish something within 48 hours that previously might take you a year or 2 years. What happened was you got that idea into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind, it took over your behavior, and you started acting and thinking in a different way.
Yeah.
But we play games. It's the paradigm that plays games with you. Do you think you can do that? It's like, oh, thanks, little voice talking to me. I'm like, who is that? It's weird.
Yeah.
Who's the one dictating what you can and cannot do?
Yeah, sure.
Only you. It's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. One last question before we close. There are like some other thoughts that you want to share with us that maybe I didn't ask you because, of course, you are an expert in this field and you want to share with us before we close this super episode.
Yeah, I would love to. We want to understand that we don't get energy. We release it. We don't get energy. We release it. And we release it through the thoughts we hold in our head. I want you to really understand this. When you're around negative people, you're picking up the vibration of their thought. The vibration of your thought says an attractive force is what they call the law of attraction. Most people that talk the law of attraction should be quiet because they have no idea what they're talking about. Okay? You do not get energy, you release it.
Okay.
It's very important to understand that. Okay? You want to start giving more. Just start giving more, whether it's spiritually, intellectually, financially. Start to give. If you want to solve 95% of all your problems that you have in your life, stop thinking about yourself. If you want to eliminate fear from your life, stop thinking about yourself. Start thinking about other people. Start thinking about the service that you're rendering to them. When you set a goal, don't just think about yourself. Think about what kind of service you can create and get emotionally involved in the service. There's two kinds of income. There's psychological income that you receive from, let's say, us doing this call today. Feels good, okay? But there's also monetary income.
Okay.
Okay? People get that confused. They'll say, money isn't everything. Well, money isn't everything, but it is everything in the area that it's used, which is basically everything.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? So keep it in its right position, right? But I will share, if you want to get rid of 95% of your problems, stop thinking about yourself. Just start thinking about others. Every time you have fear, it's because you're thinking about yourself. Even if you go back to, let's go back to when I was going to do the presentation. I was so afraid. Why? I'm afraid of fear of criticism. Now, there's another little gift for you guys. Fear of criticism is the number one killer of persistence. And persistence is just another word for faith. Whenever you set a goal, you really want it. And then you just start coming up with ideas of how can I serve more people? How can I give more? How can I give more spiritually, intellectually, and also physically? When you start to give, you will activate what I call the law of circulation. Anything that doesn't circulate dies. Okay. If you think about money, it's called a currency. Well, why? Because it's a current.
Yeah.
If your heart stops beating, you're done. Okay, so keep the service going, keep the giving going. Stop thinking about yourself. Just start getting emotionally involved in helping and serving and giving and coming up with greater ways and greater things that you can start to serve more, impact more, improve yourself every day. All I do every day is say, how can I get better at what I'm doing so I can impact more people?
Yeah.
I don't ever need to worry about the money. The money's always flowing in. Clients are always flowing in. Whenever you get stuck, if it's financially, okay, and we'll end the call with this. If you're facing any problem in your life, and I don't care what it is, any problem, relationship, money, you name it, go find someone else with a problem, help that person with that problem, and I promise you, your problem will be solved.
Yeah, I like it. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dave. I really appreciate your time. And this episode was super amazing. Really, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
And guys, I hope you enjoyed this super episode and see you in the next one. Bye for now. Bye, Dave. Thank you so much.